worked in the emergency room for years, and I've seen almost everything. Car crashes, shootings, stabbings, overdoses, you name it. You learn to get through it without letting it eat you alive. But some nights, something happens that sticks in your head. Something that you can't explain, something that follows you home long after your shift ends. This story happened about 6 years ago, on night shift. It was a Tuesday, around 2 in the morning. Things had actually gotten quiet, which doesn't happen very often. The waiting room had emptied out, the drunk patients were finally passed out in their beds, and we were catching up on charting. Nights like that are rare, and we always joke around that when it's too calm, something bad is about to come through the doors. Sure enough, triage called down to us. EMS was bringing in a female, late 20s, altered mental status, possible overdose. Nothing unusual there. Overdoses are routine for us, so I got room 9 set up. 4 kits ready, airway equipment at the bedside, Narcan drawn up just in case. When EMS rolled her in, though, I felt something I usually don't feel. Uneasy. She was pale, but not the kind of pale you see with shock or blood loss. It was different. Her skin almost looked gray, lips bluish, and her hair was damp, like she had just come out of water. Her eyes were wide open, staring straight up, but she wasn't blinking. The medic gave a quick report. Found her in an abandoned building. Squatters called it in. She was just lying on the floor, pupils blown, breathing shallow. We bagged her for a bit. She started breathing on her own again, but she's not responsive. We transferred her to the bed, hooked her up to the monitor. Her vitals were bad. Blood pressure barely registering, pulse weak, oxygen levels low even with a mask. I tried to get an IV line started, but her skin felt strange. Not just cold, stiff, like it didn't want to give. I couldn't get a vein no matter what I tried. Eventually, I went straight for an intraosseous line, which means drilling into the shin bone. Not something you normally jump to unless you have no other choice. That set the tone right away. Everything about this patient was just off. While the doctor examined her, I stayed at the monitor. Every so often, she'd take a shallow breath, but otherwise, she didn't move. Still staring at the ceiling, pupils fixed. Then, as I leaned over to check her airway again, I noticed her lips moving, just slightly. I bent down, thinking she might be trying to say something. Her voice was so faint it was almost nothing, but I heard it. A whisper. "Don't let him in." I froze. I asked her, "Don't let who in?" But she didn't respond. Her eyes shifted, just barely, to the corner of the room. I looked over. Nothing was there. Just the crash cart, the curtain half pulled. When I looked back at her, her mouth was closed. Blank again. I tried to shake it off. Night shifts play tricks on your mind when you're tired. Around 3:15, alarms went off. Her heart rate shot up into the 80s, then dropped straight into the 40s. Oxygen tanked. We rushed in. The doctor called for intubation. I started compressions. The second I pushed down on her chest, the monitor flatlined. And right at that moment, I swear, she smiled. It wasn't big, just the corners of her mouth twitching upward. But I saw it. And I felt this cold rush through me, like every hair on my body was standing up. I pulled my hands back, startled, and another nurse jumped in. We worked her hard. Intubated, pushed meds, more compressions. 25 minutes. Nothing. Finally, the doctor called it. Time of death, 3:41 a.m. The room was dead quiet. Something about it didn't feel right. As I disconnected the monitor, I noticed the screen still showing a heartbeat. A steady rhythm, about 70 beats per minute. But the leads weren't connected anymore. The patient was gone. One of the techs saw it too. He muttered, "Nope." I'm not dealing with that, and walked out. I powered the monitor off. We zipped her into a body bag and took her down to the cooler. That should have been the end of it. But about an hour later, security radioed us. The motion detector near the morgue hallway had gone off. It happens sometimes. Equipment shifts, rats, even a janitor forgetting to badge in. But given what had just happened, we all went still. 2 security guards went to check. When they came back, they were pale. One of them said he'd seen a woman at the end of the hallway, long hair hanging down over her face, just standing there. He thought it was someone who had slipped inside. But when they got closer, the hall was empty. That shook everyone up. From then on, nobody wanted to go near room 9. By shift change, I was exhausted. I gave report, grabbed my bag, and started heading to the parking garage. Halfway there, I realized I'd left my stethoscope hanging on the hook in room 9. I almost left it. I thought about it. But stethoscopes aren't cheap, and mine had my name engraved. So I went back. The day's shift was busy, but room 9 was empty. I pulled the curtain to grab my scope, and she was there. Not her body. Her. Sitting upright on the bed, still in the hospital gown, hair wet, eyes wide open, staring at me. I froze. Couldn't move. Couldn't even breathe. Her head tilted slightly, the same slow, unnatural tilt I'd seen with certain seizure patients. Then, in that same raspy whisper, she said, "You shouldn't have let him in." The lights flickered, and I ran. I left the stethoscope. I didn't stop until I was in my car, doors locked, hands shaking on the wheel. I've never seen her since. But sometimes, when I'm working nights and the monitors glitch, or I hear patients mutter strange things under their breath, I think about her. And I'll tell you this. If I'm ever assigned to room 9, I trade out with another nurse. I don't care what anyone thinks, because some patients never leave the ER. Some stay behind, waiting for the next person who forgets that not everything we treat is alive.